Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat.
and you're over there, I'm over here, and we just hit record, so I'm assuming this must be info on the go.
And we're answering questions you may not want to know.
All right, let's change it up a lot. So, Kat, I know you've heard of some of these urban legends before, but there's always going to be one that kind of stands out from your childhood, right?
Absolutely.
I have one from my childhood. My grandfather used to say that if we was to go down to the lake after dark, bloody bones would come out and get us. you know, so we never went down to the lake after dark because we really didn't want bloody bones to come and get us. Looking back at it now, he probably just didn't want us to go down to the lake after dark for our own safety, right?
Right, right.
But at any rate, urban legends are modern folklore that they're widely circulated stories that they're bizarre, creepy, sometimes downright humorous, and usually presented as truth, even though it may be stretched out truth.
Kind of like the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, and Santa Claus.
This is a kid-friendly show.
Oh, just kidding, kids.
There you go.
Those are all real.
Those are all very real,
hmm hmm
especially the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, I got a note from the Tooth Fairy one time. I she forgot my tooth one night, and so she wrote me a note the next night. And with her little feet and a big old pen, she tripped a little bit. I still had the note somewhere for a long time.
that's pretty funny. That is
Yeah.
pretty funny.
These urban legends, they tend to involve everyday settings and are passed along as a friend of a friend tales.
Yeah. Well, I heard it from a friend of a friend who heard it from a friend who. You don't know REO Speedwagon?
Nope,
You've missed out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've missed out on a lot. Okay.
Yeah. Well, according to me, you missed out on a lot.
Well, I mean, according to myself as well, I've missed out on a lot just being born in the 90s. I mean, except for I keep living through historical events like nobody's business.
Um, let's get into these urban legends and whatever. So let's start with this one. So think of stories like the vanishing hitchhiker or alligators in sewers, right? Like
Mhm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Splinter.
Right, right, right. And these legends often reflect social fears or values that evolve over time.
Yeah, so a moral panic is a widespread public fear that something or someone is threatening societal norms or values, and they're often exaggerated by media and by authorities.
Right. It typically involves a group labeled as folk devils, like youth subcultures, migrants, or musicians, and leads to calls for stricter laws or social control.
Yeah, so we got some pretty famous examples here. One includes, well, the Salem witch trials, and, well, the war on drugs, and the fears around rock music or those notorious video games. They're going to rot your brain.
They're gonna rot your brain. To be fair, there are some, age limits to some games. Like I don't believe anybody under the age of 15 should be playing oh, what is that thing? Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, GTA.
Yeah, GTA.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I had a parent disagree with me on that with the 7-year-old. In any case, Halloween has a long history of fears, some rooted in reality, others pure imagination, and a few that blur the line between the two. Here's a chilling sampler to set the mood.
Yeah, so poison candy and razor blades. Have you ever heard of those?
Absolutely, that was definitely an urban legend for me.
Yeah, every October, parents have to inspect trick-or-treat halls for tampered treats. While the fear is widespread, actual cases are they're relatively rare. And the infamous Candyman caused decades of paranoia. You know, I have my kids are all grown up now, so I used to tell them I got to inspect all of your candy. And I would dig through it and dig out the stuff that I liked, and I would be like, I'm gonna sample each one of these. That's just the spoils of being a good father, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
See, I remember before we moved here to Georgia, me, my brother, and my aunt and my grandpa. Sometimes my mom, but my mom worked a lot. It bees what it is, okay? But anyway, we'd go trick or treating and we'd have uh pillowcases. Okay,
Yeah.
we didn't have specific bought candy satchels or little lantern thingies or whatever. We did have lantern things one time, but in any case, pillowcases, and we dump it all out on the floor, and we just take out the stuff that had um messed up wrappers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would just go through them and be like, I don't trust this candy. It needs to go in my jar.
This looks suspicious.
This looks suspicious. This Kit Kat over here, it looks suspicious. And so does that Twix and that Milky Way. And
Yes,
so does
yes.
those Three Musketeers. You know what? Y'all can have all the Smarties. They
You
are
know,
fine.
I like Smarties, so there's that. But my mom would also make sure there was none of them were poisoned either. So
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay, good.
The 1970 Halloween heroin hoax is one of the earliest and most infamous cases that fueled fears of poisoned Halloween candy, despite being a tragic cover up rather than a random act of stranger danger.
In Detroit, a 5-year-old boy died after ingesting a fatal dose of heroin. And initial reports claimed the drug had been sprinkled on his Halloween candy, right? So heroin had been sprinkled on this uh, 5-year-old boy's Halloween candy.
All right, by the strangers.
Yeah, by the strangers.
And that story sparked immediate panic, reinforcing the idea that trick or treating could be deadly.
However, and investigators soon uncovered the truth of this. The child had accidentally consumed heroin from his relative's stash, likely mistaking it for some form of candy.
Mm,
Yeah, it's tragic.
that's unfortunate. Some people just don't know how to put their stuff away.
Well, it shouldn't be around children, no way.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
In any case, in a desperate attempt to deflect blame, the family sprinkled heroin on the boys' Halloween treats to make it appear as though the poisoning came from an outside source.
No other children were harmed, and the incident was never linked to any malicious stranger.
Could you imagine the
No.
ruination of trick or treating?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I imagine the news took off and ran with that story.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's lots of news stories where it turns out the parents did it.
yeah,
In any case, still, the damage was done. The case became a cautionary tale and helped cement the myth of random Halloween candy tampering in the public imagination.
yeah. It's really an example of how real tragedy can morph itself into an urban legend, especially when fear and media frenzy kind of collide with one another.
Hmm.
And I feel horrible for
I mean, I feel bad that somebody lost their life. Okay, that a child lost their life. That's unfortunate.
due to somebody's
Negligence.
on storing their drugs, whether they're selling them or whatever. Like,
Just negligence all the way around.
absolutely. We agree on that.
In the 1974 Candyman case, that refers to Ronald Clark O'Brien, which is a Texas father who murdered his 8-year-old son, Timothy, by lacing a pixie stick with potassium cyanide on Halloween night. That's even worse.
Oh man, a father, I couldn't even imagine.
Lacing a pixie stick, I'm never going to look at pixie sticks the same.
Yeah.
And
The father,
cyanide is not a good way to go.
no, it is not. So the father, um, he distributed 5 poisoned candies to his children and others to mask his intent, but only Timothy consumed one and died within an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And investigators discovered O'Brien was deeply in debt and had taken out multiple life insurance policies on his children, totaling around $100,000.
Wow. You
That's
know,
ridiculous.
yeah.
And that's
So,
fraud. So not only
yeah,
is it murder, it's fraud.
yeah, absolutely. Insurance fraud and murder. Uh, his motive was for financial gain. He was arrested days later after inconsistencies in his story and evidence of his interest in cyanide, which had emerged.
Mm. Dubbed the Candyman and the man who killed Halloween, for sure. O'Brien was convicted of capital murder in 1975 and executed by lethal injection in 1984.
Yeah. So this case sparked widespread fear of poisoned Halloween candy, despite being an isolated incident, and continues to influence urban legends and potential anxieties to this day.
The razor blade and needles in apples panic began in the 1960s when media reports claimed that children had found razor blades and needles in apples received while trick or treating.
Have you ever heard of this one?
No, that sounds wild.
Uh, one of the earliest high-profile cases was in 1968, when Toronto police displayed apples allegedly tampered with sharp objects.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for your favorite band, team, or TV show, maybe that movie? Since 1969, Old Glory has been the ultimate destination for officially licensed merchandise, with over 300,000 items in music, sports, movies, TVs, and popular culture. And you have Christmas coming up. Have that hard to find person that you're looking for? Check out Old Glory. At checkout, use our exclusive listener discount code and get 15% off any product. All you have to do is put InfoGo in at checkout. That's InfoGo at oldglory.com. You can find the link in the show notes.
Are you too hot at night? Well, say hello to the world's softest sheets. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheet set keeps you cool, dry, and comfy all night long. It's made from bamboo. They're moisture wicking, breathable, and get even softer with every wash. Did you even know that you can make sheets out of bamboo? I didn't. I thought that was awesome. And they have pajama sets. Pure cozy elegance, stylish, silky, praised on Good Morning America and in style, and backed by thousands of five-star reviews. You can't beat the 100-night sleep trial and free shipping on over $50 plus a 10-year warranty for sheets. 41% off any product with code INFOGO at CozyEarth.com. Make sure you find the link in the show notes. However, those investigations later revealed that many of these incidents were hoaxes or pranks, often staged by children themselves. What?
Yeah, and or
Children
police
playing
departments.
pranks.
Sometimes the police department would prank, other people like, hey, you need to be on the lookout for this. We're gonna, I'm not gonna spoil the punch here. So, but yeah,
Sensationalism.
yellow journalism at its best.
Mm-hmm.
So this myth gained traction due to a mix of media sensationalism, social anxieties, and just a few isolated cases of adults handling, handing out inappropriate items.
Mm.
Inappropriate items. Use your imagination.
This was 60s. That was a wild time.
68. So, yeah,
60s, kind of 70s, It's a
yeah,
wild time.
the Brady Bunch.
There was all kinds of things that were legally put in stuff.
Or illegally, yeah.
Yeah, it started out legally first. But in any case, in 1959, a California dentist named Dr. William Shine made Halloween history for all the wrong reasons. Instead of handing out candy, he distributed 450 laxative lace treats. So about 30 children fell ill, though none were seriously harmed. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oof.
Laxative laced treats. I mean,
X-Lax tablets
yeah,
coated in candy.
I don't like, Peeps. And I wonder if he put one of those X-Lax tablets on a whole bunch of Peeps and, like just, oh,
59? I don't think Peeps were around in 59.
yeah, good, because they're disgusting. So he claimed it was a prank. But authorities really didn't find it funny at all.
I'm willing to bet the parents didn't find it too funny either.
And no, being a parent, I probably wouldn't have found it funny at all.
Because
And
we'd be in the ER.
um, yeah, especially for small children, absolutely. And depending on how much of it they ingested.
Right.
He was charged with outrage of public decency and unlawful dispensing of drugs, making him one of the earliest documented cases of Halloween treat tampering. And I imagine when they come to his house, it was trick or treat, and he was like, "Oh, this is going to be a trick."
Right. Well, his bizarre stunt helped fuel decades of parental anxiety and urban legends about poison candy, even though most such fears have proven unfounded.
Yeah,
Most.
absolutely most. There are some people out there that, for whatever reason, do some weird stuff. Yeah, that's why I don't eat homemade candy at trick-or-treating, and I never let my kids do it either. If it wasn't prepackaged, no.
Yep. Yep. That is exactly why we took out the messed up wrappers.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to 1964, where a Long Island housewife named Helen Field sparked national alarm when she handed out steel wool, dog biscuits, and ant poison tablets, clearly labeled poison, to teenagers that she felt were, well, just too old to be trick-or-treating.
Well, alrighty then. She claimed it was a prank, not a malicious act, and told recipients the items were a joke. I don't find it funny.
Yeah, no, I don't find that one funny at all, especially dog biscuits, steel wool. Okay. But
Dog biscuits would be funny. All right, steel wool and ant poison, that's not funny.
yeah, I agree 100%. Fortunately, in her incident, no one was harmed. But this incident that she had, it led to her arrest, and she was charged naturally with child endangerment, and I agree 100% with that.
She did plead guilty and received a suspended sentence, but the event became a key moment in Halloween lore, fueling decades of fear around tamper treats. I mean, a lot of these just keep fueling the fire here.
Yeah, and I think if she didn't want to give out candy to teenagers she felt were too old,
She could have
she
just said
could,
no.
yeah, she could have just simply said no. I mean, I've done that before, actually, to be honest with you.
That's a full sentence.
Yeah.
No.
Uh, so there were no children harmed, and all of these stories that we talked about, like Kat said, they just keep fueling the public paranoia toward Halloween candy.
You know, in recent years, brightly colored fentanyl pills sparked fears that they'd be disguised as Halloween candy, but, experts debunked the idea as implausible, but the panic spread fast.
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. We did a whole thing on fentanyl. I don't really, this is just me talking. I really don't think drug dealers are going to be wanting to hand out their candy for free, you
Nope,
know,
nope.
especially as Halloween candy, just to, you know,
I assure
that's
you,
just
they do
me.
not want to hand out their usually primary source of income for free.
Yeah. Or their, next, what is it? Hit high, whatever they call it.
Right.
But the rainbow fentanyl panic is really a textbook example of how moral panic and urban legend can collide, especially around Halloween when fears about tainted candy they just seem to be on a heightened level.
Right. In 2022, the DEA issued warnings about brightly colored fentanyl pills, suggesting they were designed to appeal to children and young adults.
So the pills were found in toy boxes, candy packaging during drug bust, which, you know, helped fuel the speculation that they might be handed out to trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't just to disguise it so, they weren't being looked at. But hey,
Yeah, like in that pack of Smarties.
yeah. So, public figures and law enforcement amplified that concern, urging parents to inspect Halloween candy and remain vigilant. But by 2022, all parents should have still been inspecting their Halloween candy.
Yeah, for real. And to be honest with you, some of those, and I'm not making light of a bad situation here because yeah, somebody could have grabbed it and gave it to an unexpected trick-or-treater. Absolutely. I'm not saying that couldn't happen.
Right.
But experts quickly pushed back. Addiction specialists and other professionals stepped forward and pointed out that drug dealers they don't have any incentive in giving away expensive, deadly drugs to children because children are not a viable customer base.
No. And the colorful pills were more likely a branding tactic or a method of concealment during trafficking, not a sinister plot to target kids.
Yeah. So so I say now let's move on to satanic rituals and black cats. What do you think?
Sounds good.
But before we do that, I say we take a quick break.
Absolutely.
All right, so now that we're back, satanic rituals and black cats. The 1980s Satanic Panic really gave rise to tales of cults abducting black cats for Halloween sacrifices. And I remember this. I remember this well.
Well, I wasn't quite thought of yet, but that's just terrible.
Yeah,
I always loved black cats. I mean, I love cats, but
I think somewhere down the road we need to do the Satanic Panic for the from the 1980s.
it sounds good.
Okay.
Despite the lack of evidence, the myth still persists in small towns and cautious households. Yeah, no, I can see that. That most, I wouldn't say most. I have met a lot of people that refuse to be associated with black cats.
Well, I don't have a fear of black cats. I just don't like them to cross my path. I think I've said that somewhere. But, it is what it is. I don't really care.
So you don't walk under ladders either?
here's the thing. Why take chances?
Fair enough. Don't break any mirrors.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not superstitious, but why not take chances?
Right.
Why not just avoid it all the way around? And that way you don't have to worry about it, right?
I suppose. Yeah.
Um, so the fear that black cats are targeted for satanic rituals around Halloween, uh, this kind of really stems largely from the broader satanic panic of the 1980s.
A period marked by widespread, often unfounded fears of cult activity and ritual abuse in the US, which, I mean, still happens today in the US.
So during this time, stories circulated that black cats were being abducted and sacrificed by supposed satanic groups, especially in the lead up to Halloween. Like it would be a thing in Halloween.
Right. You know, these tales were fueled by black cats' long-standing association with witchcraft, bad luck, and the occult, dating back to medieval Europe and Puritan America.
However, there's really no verified evidence that organized cults um, systematically harmed any black cats during Halloween.
Well, that's a plus. Investigations by shelters, researchers, and myth debunking sites like Snoops have found that most claims are anecdotal or based on hearsay.
Yeah, I use Snoops a lot.
Definitely snooped on some Snoops occasionally.
But honestly and truly, the myth persists. Uh, so much so that some animal shelters temporarily suspend black cat adoptions in October out of caution and fearing they'll be used as props or harmed. I think that is a great thing for those shelters because I feel that some people probably just want to adopt black cat for Halloween, for whatever reason.
As somebody who has fostered and rehomed cats, I have to agree. While the risk is likely exaggerated, black cats do face real danger from pranks, superstitions, and increased outdoor activity during Halloween. That's why many pet advocates recommend keeping all cats indoors during the holiday and ensuring adoption processes remain thorough year round.
So urban legends, they kind of come to life. Stories like The Hook, Bloody Mary, The Babysitter, and The Man Upstairs. These are all Halloween staples, right?
Right.
but they're rarely true, but they do tap into some primal fears, you know, which is like being watched, being alone, feeling vulnerable. You know, it all really taps into that.
Yeah, I remember Bloody Mary. So, the devil's birthday myth. Some Halloween myths claim October 31st is the devil's birthday, but there's no theological basis for this, but it sure adds to the eerie vibe.
I would agree with that.
Hmm.
I've never heard that one, but I would agree with that one.
I've never heard of that one either.
Yeah. So the hook. This is a cautionary tale about a couple that parked in a remote area who narrowly escaped the killer with a hook for a hand. So
Oh, I see.
Captain Hook is running around on land. Um, it's a classic warning against teenage rebellion and isolation, often ending with the hook embedded in the car door, which is a chilling reminder of what could have happened. Yeah, no, I wonder if he was going, "Arr, matey."
I don't know. The guy in I Know What You Did Last Summer sure didn't do all that.
Did he have a hook?
He did. It was a Fisher's hook, though.
I wonder if they got that from this myth.
I I mean it's plausible.
Yeah, okay.
So let's roll on into Bloody Mary. This is a mirror-based ritual that dares you to summon a vengeful spirit by chanting her name 3 times in the dark. Whether she's a wronged witch or Queen Mary the First, the legend plays on fears of reflection, identity, and the supernatural.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
So the babysitter and the man upstairs. So a babysitter receives a creepy phone call asking if she's checked all the children. When she traced the call, she finds out that it's coming from, well, inside the house. It's a terrifying twist on her safety, and it leaves her vulnerable as a caretaker of children.
These legends endure because they're relatable, repeatable, and adaptable, which are passed down at sleepovers, campfires, and Halloween parties.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can remember telling some of those.
Yeah,
And don't be the first one to fall asleep either.
right.
Never. Haunted houses that go too far. You know, we did a whole episode on that. Some do go really too far.
Agreed.
But rumors swirl about extreme haunted attractions so terrifying no one finishes them, and some even vanish afterwards. These tales are mostly fiction, but they add to that delicious layer of dread, right?
Hmm.
But there was some haunted houses people couldn't finish. I'm
For
not
sure.
sh I'm not sure if they vanished afterward, but it's plausible.
It most certainly is. The idea of haunted house is so terrifying that guests flee before finishing or that mysteriously vanish after one season is a juicy blend of urban legend and real life spectacle.
Yeah. So while most of these stories are exaggerated or fictional, they're inspired by a handful of extreme haunts that push psychological and physical boundaries.
Haunted house world record. The longest haunted house in the world is the Factory of Terror in Canton, Ohio, stretching over 3,500 feet of pure fright.
And as we mentioned in our top 10 extreme haunted houses, you got McKinney Manor, which is often cited as the most extreme haunted attraction. And it's located in Tennessee and Alabama. And it does require you to sign a 40-page waiver. And you know, it can last up to 10 hours, and you should really check out that episode to get a little more detail about it.
For sure. Guests endure simulated torture, confinement, and intense psychological stress.
Yeah, we cover all of that in that episode. It is so controversial that even other haunt creators, you know, that created other haunted houses, they want to shut it down.
Dang.
Yeah, that's how bad that place is. But like I said, go check out our episode, the top 10 most extreme haunted houses.
So now we're at Blackout Haunted House, which launched in New York in 2006, pioneered solo full contact horror experiences.
Yeah, so participants have been blindfolded, waterboarded, and subject to all kind of disturbing scenarios.
And then Heretic House and Miasma are underground haunts known for immersive, narrative-driven horror that includes binding, suffocation, and psychological manipulation.
And that one didn't even make it into our top 10 extreme haunted houses. Just
Oof.
just just putting some salt on the bread there.
Right.
But rumors of haunted houses that no one finishes or that vanishes after the season, they likely stem from marketing hype. You know, some attractions lean into mystery to kind of build the buzz, right? And
Right.
then you got word of mouth exaggeration. You know, guests embellish their experiences, turning discomfort into legend. No, people don't embellish stuff.
No.
Um, and then, you know, the fear of the unknown. You know, when haunted operations, you know, they operate in secret or change location, that kind of helps fuel that speculation as well.
Right. And these tales do tap into our primal fear of losing control, being trapped, forced, or facing the unknown. Perfect ingredients for Halloween dread.
So, needles in costumes or tattoos. You know, these are some of the legends that claim temporary tattoos or costume accessories are laced with drugs.
Right. And these stories are almost always false, but they do reflect real anxieties about safety and trust.
You know, my biggest fear about those Halloween masks is that somebody tried it on in the store and had dragon breath in there, and I'm gonna put it on. No, man, that thing is getting all kind of Lysol. Which is why I don't wear those masks. I just wanna throw that out there for everybody. If you hear that I wore a Halloween mask, you can bet that my life depended on it.
Fair enough. Oh,
Um, so Halloween, it really thrives on these thrills of uncertainty. You know, where those lines kind of uh, between spooky fun and maybe that sinister possibility is it's just blurry enough to keep us checking that candy twice.
for sure. You know,
Hey, and I got a PSA to make here. If any parent feels that their Halloween candy is unsafe or they need somebody to check it by a professional, I'm here for you. I'm
in
just
res-
throwing it out there. I'm just saying, you know, I'm a professional. I've got years of experience. I
that's
will
true. He does. He's
I
aging
will
himself again.
I will test every last bit of it if need be. If it calls for that, I will. But only the good stuff. Only the good stuff. You can leave the Smarties and all that other crap at home.
So in response to growing concerns over Halloween safety, fueled by urban legends like poisoned candy and razor blades and apples, many communities began reimagining the holiday to create more secure, family-friendly environments.
Yeah, you know, so this really led to the rise of those trunk or treat events, you know, which first appeared in the 1990s, often organized by churches, schools, and communities that came together and thought, hey, this is a safer way for our kids to trick or treat.
Right. You know, instead of roaming dark neighborhoods, children now gather in well-lit parking lots collecting candy from decorated car trunks.
Yeah, and I think those are really, really, really cool. Um, so these events often include games, contests, crafts, transforming Halloween into really a mini fall festival. You know, here in the South, a lot of churches put together these trunk or treats, you know, to really kind of to do the dress up, the whole Halloween thing, but they really kind of want to bring people together and keep it safe for everybody. I
Mm.
know the church down the road from us does it. They have a big thing every year where they have a corn maze, they have games. It's really fun to go to. And it's not just churches that puts these together.
Traditional trick-or-treating involved door-to-door visits, often unsupervised and unpredictable.
While trunk or treats, they offer centralized control settings, and they reduce the risk of like traffic accidents or children approaching unfamiliar homes.
Parents can monitor children more easily, and organizers can enforce safety rules and allergy conscious treat options.
Yeah, so like hey, we got children that have peanut allergies, so this is what we're going to give them. So here's the pros to trunk or treating. First one is safety. It reduces the exposure to children going out into traffic and encountering strangers.
And then you have convenience. It's a one stop candy collecting, especially helpful in rural or spread out areas.
Yeah, and then you have that community bonding agent, and this encourages participation from local groups, schools, and churches.
And then you got creative fun. Trunk decorations become part of the celebration, adding flair and friendly competition.
But here's the cons to trunk or treating. You got the loss of tradition. You got some that feel like it lacks that nostalgic charm of going door to door in the neighborhood, trick or treating.
And then you have limited independence. Older kids miss out on the freedom and social learning that comes with navigating their own route.
Yeah, I think I let my kids did both. We did the trunk or treating and the trick or treating, but we did it inside of our own neighborhood here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the exclusivity concerns. Events on private property may unintentionally exclude some families. You're always going to have that part of it.
Less spontaneity. The structured format can feel more like a scheduled activity than a magical night of adventure. That's true.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. And trunk or treating reflects a broader cultural shift toward managed experiences that balance fun with with caution.
hmm while it may not replace the thrill of ringing doorbells in the dark, it's become a beloved alternative, especially for families seeking safe, inclusive, and festive Halloween memories.
And we love to fear because fear plays a powerful psychological and social role. It not only helps us survive, but also connects us through shared experiences and stories.
hmm Urban legends stick especially well during Halloween because they evoke strong emotions, unfold in relatable settings, and thrive in the eerie atmosphere of the season.
Telling those spooky stories becomes a ritual passed between generations as both entertainment and, well, warnings, helping reinforce that cultural identity.
hmm and these legends often serve as subtle tools for social control, teaching lessons about behavior, boundaries, and morality.
So, whether it's a cautionary tale like The Hook or playground dares like Bloody Mary, fear becomes a method of preserving norms while drawing people together through, well, thrill and tradition.
As the shadows recede and the candy wrappers pile up, it's worth taking a moment to reflect. What stories shaped your childhood Halloweens?
Yeah. Was it the cautionary whisper of poison sweets, the thrill of chanting Bloody Mary in the mirror, or the chilling idea of haunted houses that you kind of feared to enter because somebody's missing a friend of a friend who heard it from a friend who?
Or you're being waterboarded and psychologically manipulated?
I'm not signing no 40-page waiver, man.
Me either. I do not sign up for full contact experiences.
No, I'm here to tell you, if I go into a haunted house and there's contact, just know if you can touch me, I'm touching back. I'm throwing it out there.
Right. These legends may not have been true, but they did leave real impressions, passed down through schoolyards, living rooms, and neighborhood ghost tours.
Yeah. So Halloween at its heart isn't just spooky fun. It's a mirror held up to our collective anxieties there.
Whether we're afraid of strangers, the unknown, or losing control, these fears do get packaged in tales we retell each other each October.
And in doing so, we find connection, catharsis, and a bit of a goosebump inducing delight.
Wait, we missed one.
Are you sure?
As a person who fears the spider, I can say yes.
Oh, hold on. You're talking about what is it? The spider wig surprise?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So the spider wig surprise. It's a tale in classic Halloween urban legends that it's been creeping people out for decades.
It typically begins with someone, often a young woman, digging through an attic or a thrift store for the perfect costume accessory.
And then she finds an old wig, puts it on, and heads to the party. At first, the wig feels just a little itchy, but she just chalks it up to, well, it's been in the attic for a little while. I'm just not familiar with it.
Right. But as the night goes on, the itching intensifies until someone screams spiders. Hundreds of them begin crawling out from under the wig, across her face, and down her arms.
Yeah, the wig had been home to a spider nest, and the baby arachnids hatched just in time for that Halloween party.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Though there's no documented case of this actually happening, the story plays on primal fears, infestation, loss of control, and the horror of something lurking just beneath the surface.
It's often told at sleepovers, Halloween gatherings, and like many urban legends, it's designed to be just believable enough to make you second guess that Halloween costume choice.
I have too much hair to be putting on a wig anyway. I'm hot enough as it is.
Well, I think we gave our listeners enough story, enough ammunition to go out there and have a really good bonfire, spooky storytelling adventure.
Or at least brought up some old core memories. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, for sure. I don't know about you. I mean, you didn't even get fruit for Halloween. That's sad. Wait a minute. Is it sad for me or sad for you?
Hmm.
Anyway,
If you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
if you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so at Patreon. You can find the link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go,
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Or you can email us at,
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.